In our dialogue, the number 2 issue the leaders agreed was a sense of existing instead of living. Here, Jessica Schmidt, Global Vice President, HR Brands Adidas, shares the top ideas to fix it.
We looked at it, and I think I would package it or break it down into 3 categories. One is really care for self, knowledge of self, and courage for self. So many of those things were mentioned. I think the one thing I would add is around the saying no topic is also learning ways of testing alternatives. And, I think courage comes into play here for sure, but maybe the point between potentially leaving a job that isn't working for you is also saying, hey, I've got an alternative offer of how this could work. And then, you would always resign potentially if it didn't work, but using that space to try and champion for change and to test what can be done is an opportunity. Space to recharge, commitment to self and follow through, all the themes being present, and to know yourself and really what you want and to stay true. From a collective point of view, and I separated collective and community on purpose. When I looked at collective, we were talking about organizations and what can organizations do. And so in this sense, there's 2 elements I would share. One is establishing and really challenging operating processes in an organization so that those processes build in collective time for reflection, for recovery. Many processes in our modern world are built off an idea or concept that sometimes has humans working like machines. This idea that we can just keep on going, it's the next report, it's the next range. I work in sports apparel, and we go range and season by season. And the common theme we were hearing in our organization was, I'm on a treadmill. It's like I go from one thing to the next. So really fundamentally looking at how the operations is going and building in this space and defining what does reflection look like. Reflection, how do we better ourselves? How do we analyze to improve? How do we take time to work differently together and gain different perspectives for betterment? So that all that hard work you've been doing executing can be channeled back into achieving greater efficiency or, I use efficiency, or even greater results that serve purpose and power. On the other side, recovery is something about, how do I give back or have time out, and that's okay, that there's space for me to do that without missing milestones and having to feel like I have to dial into a meeting when I'm really trying to have time with my family. And the second part was around listening. I think, if anything, this massive theme is out there around people want to be heard, their voices want to be recognized, and somehow to see that contribution showing up in the workplace. And so an offer there in terms of a system or establishing a way to do that in a collective environment is establishing a concept around listening circles that could be hosted by a senior leader. We had to do this through the Black Lives Matter, I would say, peak time. We're not out of it yet. It's still a very big social topic, as well as the Me Too movement. And we've really had to learn as an organization to listen to how our people feel, and for our senior leaders just to sit there with the discomfort of that, listen to it, and not have an immediate solution, just to provide the space to be heard. And then taking all those themes and ideas and moving it into, a space of how do we innovate and change policy? How do we establish different ways of interacting and working? And then third was around community and connection, and just acknowledging how fundamental belonging is, and that belonging can happen on so many levels, and it can be in so many ways, whether it's grassroots groups of, women's mentoring circles, or It's, dual students getting together or interns, just communities that get together and collect to support each other and to create a sense of safe space. And then that those communities have a platform to be able to influence policy and change to the way we work as well.